What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to do an updated video on my add-ons. So everything I use personally, so I get a lot of questions and I have changed them since my last video. So I want to get an updated add-on video for you guys so you can see what I use. If you got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm always down to answer any of that. But other than that, let's get right into it. So I'm just going to go down the list here and I have a screenshot of in-game settings. So first off, stuff does not really matter. Auto turn I use for quest turn-ins. As right tooltip, that's literally irrelevant anymore. Battleground Enemies shows the enemies on the side in a battleground. I don't really do battlegrounds that much, but if you're interested in that. Next big one is BigDebuffs. I wish I would have said pun intended, but it wasn't. Okay, so BigDebuffs is what you'll see on the side of... Can I zoom in any more on this? What you'll see right here on the enemy frames. And this also allows you to have more than 3 buffs. So I get asked all the time, how can you see all your, your HOTS on one target? It's called BigDebuffs. So when you go into the settings for BigDebuffs, you make sure that you increase maximum buff size to 6. So that's how you get all your HOTS to show on there. This is a very good one especially because even if you're not a healer, it's really nice because you'll see when someone's CC'd. So like, let's say my rogue gets poly, you'll see a big poly icon on the left side here. Or feared or HOTS, any big CC that's dispellable, you'll see there. And there's not, and even undispellable stuff, you'll see kidney shot and stuff like that as well. And then you can mess with the settings too. But the most important thing I would say is you get the HOTS to see there, and you see the big things that you need to dispel, like poly, fear, HOTS, silence, that kind of stuff. Next one up is DejaCharacterStats. This is what I just use for my character stats on the side here. One thing I do like about this is it does show some stuff that you don't normally see. You can see movement speed. So like sometimes I kind of mess around. I'll see how fast I can get. I went through a time where I stacked haste gems or movement speed gems to see how fast I can get. Another one, a cool one, is global cooldown. So something I didn't know is the more haste you have, the shorter your GCD is, and you can actually track this and try to get the best out of it So like right now, if I have I think it's a crit set on, right? So it's at 1.32, and if I put a haste set on, which this one is basically a haste set, it goes down to 1.22. So I actually lose 0.1, or you gain 1.1 faster GCD, which is cool. Just personal preference. I like this. Shows you a little cool color thing, and it shows your a lot of things that you don't normally see on the normal tab. All right. Next up, details. Just your classic damage meter, healing meters. Make sure you get there's a lot into this. If you ever want to kind of look into it a little more, you can compare between like 2 healers and stuff. So like you can compare to the other team. If there was another, like let's say you're a Wrestle Druid, you versed another Wrestle Druid, and you want to see what he did differently. You can compare 2 different, what he do, what I do, and it kind of puts it side by side. Another one I use all the time is auras. You could track procs and stuff. So like if we're trying to see like wild hunt tactics up 30% of the game, like you wouldn't think that. That's I think it's only when they're like above a certain percent health. You can kind of see the uptime of things, and you can also see that with your partners. So sometimes I like to look at this and see like when I'm playing with viewers, did you press Avatar? Did you press Rallying Cry? You'll see that if they don't press something, like because this will just show your buffs and the uptime that it had in the game. So that's a good one to also use. Analyze your own gameplay, try to figure out what you could have done better. Next one we got is Diminish. Diminish is a cool little one. This is Diminish right here. So Diminish will show your DRs. So like let's say you're racing this is especially useful, I would say, against Assassination Rogue. Not Cell Rogue because they can just stun whenever with cheap shot. But Assassination Rogues when you're tracking kidney shot. Because kidney shot you can track. Excuse me, but doesn't line up perfectly with the DR. So sometimes you might get stunned right after that DR. So I'm always keeping an eye on this, especially if I'm getting trained and I know that my stun is coming off DR. I know they're going to be looking to stun me. Or same with trap or polymorph. Like if I'm DR'd on polymorph, like maybe it's even sometimes double DR part up, I won't even shift it, or I'll run into a ring on purpose so that it DRs it even more. So it kind of ruins their setup. This is a cool thing to keep track of, to know like when they're gonna try to stun you or try to CC you. And I don't really customize this one at all. I don't think I did. I might just moved it around. Yeah, no customization on that one. Music, extra CD. I don't think I even used this one. I have no idea what that is, to be honest. flyPlateBuffs. flyPlateBuffs is what my normal playflips are that, can't really see here, but behind this convoke thing. But like it shows kidney shot, you know, iron bark. It'll show your dots, moonfire, rake, rip, whatever you got on the target. This is probably my favorite add-on out of all of mine. This you could put whatever you want on there. You could put I used to put like obsidian claw from BFA. You could put trinkets on there. Any sort of proc, anything that the other team, any buff that the other team will have or debuff, you could put on there. So if you guys don't know how to put stuff on there, you go to flyPlateBuffs, you open it up. Because people ask me, like, do I have a profile for it? I really don't. I've just kind of added spells here and there. I think it's too late to make a profile. I think it's the last time I tried to make a profile, it reset everything, and that was a pain in the butt. So I did not do it. Like, you know, I think like Axe Toss I've added. I think there's some more stuff, you know. Thorns I added, and I made it bigger. So if you, to know how to do it, you just go to Wowhead. You go to Wowhead, and you type in, like, let's say Thorns, for example. Thorns isn't baseline on there. Oh, and then you just look up here. This is spell equals. That's the spell ID. So you just, you know, copy that. You go to here. You hit paste, and then you hit OK, and then it'll go in there. And you can make it bigger or smaller. Like Thorns is something that I've noticed that, you know, you don't want to hit into, and it was sometimes hard to see the visual. So I put it in here. I made it nice and big. But there's a ton of stuff in here you can add. You can add literally anything. If you see something that you want to try to see more, power infusion, stun, fears, big defensives like parry, nether walk, darkness, all those kind of things. Okay. Next one, handy notes, just for leveling stuff. Narcissus, I do get to that sometimes. I don't really use it that much, but it's kind of just a cool add-on. It just shows if your UI like this. Sometimes when I'm AFK or like I got a BR back on my stream, I'll just pop this on and just leave it there. Kind of just shows a cool little outline of all your stuff, your soul vines, your sets, your pretty much everything. I think a lot of people do use this for like taking pictures, like screenshots and stuff. You can like do so much. It's actually wild. Nice. Well, you kind of do a ton of crazy stuff with that. Next up, we got OmniBar. OmniBar is this bar that is not there right there at the moment. I just tested here. I'm gonna show a ton of stuff, but anyway, this is OmniBar. You kind of just track cooldowns with it. I usually just put it right underneath my thing. It obviously wouldn't look like this. This is everything that I have tracked all at once. But this is just good to keep an eye on. You know, you could put any offensive, any defensive cooldown on here. You could put trinkets on here. You could do pretty much whatever you want on OmniBar. And you do it the same exact way. You just get the spell ID. So you go to, so it does have a good amount of baseline spells you can click through. So if you want to go through each class, what are you looking for? You check it off. And then if you want anything that's not there, you just go to custom spells. And like these are things that I've added, like the Hunt, Thought Steal, Spear Bastion, Doom Winds is actually a pretty good one to keep track of. Convoke, Adaptive Swarm for Necro Perils. This is a big one I just added recently. Trying to get the spells in those. So you just you just pay the spell ID, and then just set the class that you want to set it to. So like if I do that the swarm, I want to just make sure I click Druid, and then you go back to the base, you go to Druid, and then it'll be in there. Should be in there. Should. There you go, Adaptive Swarm. Okay. That's OmniBar. Great add-on. Highly recommend that one to track stuff. Next one, OmniCD. OmniCD is this one here. Super, I would highly recommend everyone using this one. I just started using this one not too long ago, but it was great for doing viewer games because I was able to track my teammates' defensives. But this is so good for literally anybody that PvPs because you could see your teammates' cooldowns, whether it's offensive or defensive. So if you're a healer, you want to be able to see, and every time they use something, it'll glow. So like, let's say my rogue uses evasion. I don't want to overlap like Iron Bark or something like that on top of that. So I want to, if I can see what he used, I know not to overreact to it offensive, or conversely, Vendetta, I could see when he Vendettas or he combustions or avatars, whatever type of offensive cooldown, and then I can kind of help him along with that. Like if I know he pressed Vendetta, I should go try to CC something, or Locke uses Dark Soul and I want to try to stun him in line, things like that. And then conversely, if you're the DPS, it's really good to have this because you'll know what your healer has. Like if you're playing with the Wrestle Druid, I would make sure I'd have Trinket on there. Well, Trinket's, I think, baseline on there. But I would make sure I have Iron Bark on there and NS for sure. Maybe Bash if you're playing a comp that's setting up a lot. So, like, if your teammate has Iron Bark on you, maybe you shouldn't Vanish or you shouldn't Evasion or you shouldn't use a big defensive because you know that you should be okay. But again, also it comes back to communication and whatnot. But it's a great tool, especially because so many people know voice these days. Just really good to have. Quartz, this is something I just added recently. It's just a spell bar, a new cast bar. I just kind of like the look of the cast bar. But I didn't really do anything. Then I just downloaded it, put the bar there, just moved it down there. Radar I don't really use. TellMeWhen. The only thing I should use it for a couple things. So TellMeWhen is one I use for my, if you'll see right here. So the reason I have the shapeshifter one here, I just set that one up with just a buff debuff, master shapeshifter, player buff, and then I put the timer text on. I did that for boomy form. So obviously when you're in cat form, like you're gonna have the buff at all times, so this is kind of pointless. But for balance affinity, when you shift into Moonkin form, you have the buff for 10 seconds. That's why I track this, because I never want to be I never want to be casting you know, Wrath or Starfire while that buff is off, because it's just a flat 20% increased damage and reduced cast time. So, you know, if I run out, I'll shift out, shift back in, and just keep rolling with that. I used again for Part of the Wild for when I do the procs, and then also just to track how much I have it up. So like when I'm using the Heart of the Wild Lego, it's good to have it tracked so that I know when it's going to fall off, because especially with Star Surge is instant during Heart of the Wild, so that changes the game. Like if it's like if I'm like 2 seconds from falling off, I might just shift in, throw a Star Surge, and then come back out just to get a good benefit from it. And probably the most useful one is the Prowl one I have right here. To set this one up, you just got to go to reactive ability and then set it to Prowl, and then I put timer text. So what this will do is, let me go find something really quick here to attack. So when you're not in combat, you'll see this Prowl icon, but when you are in combat, it won't be there. So if I hit this guy, it goes away. I know I like that because I'll know exactly when I drop stealth. So I hit this thing, okay, kill it, and then once that falls, this is really good to getting those stealths off instantly. Or if you're hiding behind a pillar and you're waiting for your stealth to drop, the second you see that pop up, bang, good. And another additional thing, I play with Arcane Mage a lot. If you do play with one, it's really cool because sometimes Mass Invis will drop your combat. You can actually you'll see this pop up really quick, and you'll get the stealth off. And there's actually, I feel like there's still sometimes where there's a bug, where I feel like sometimes you might just randomly drop combat, and like my brain just instinctively sees this stealth. So you can always get rake studs off of that. Next one, TrufiGCD. That's just the one that shows my spells. So it just sees what I'm pressing. You guys might see some like random ones like this. Like this, just a toy. I have some of them that are like that, you know, toy. And if you ever see something weird, it's probably just a toy. But otherwise, it's just a cool thing to see for you, like my viewers. I can't watch a stream without them having this anymore. It's like hard to watch. So I was like, you know, I watch streams to learn things and whatnot. So it's good to be able to see what they're doing. And lastly, JaxPartyCastBars. This is a new one I just got. You can't see it here, but what it does is it shows your partner casting. So on my screen, it's like, let's say this is a mage, when he's casting polymorph, you'll see a cast bar, polymorph, you know, arcane blast, frostbolt, whatever, fireball, it'll pop up there. So this is really nice to see, especially timing CCs. So like if I'm playing with the mage and I know he's going for a poly, or a Destrolox casting chaos bolt, or whatever it may be, it's good to see those casts. And if you're, this is actually it's also very good for if you're DPS, because you can maybe not line your healer's cast. That's a really frustrating thing to deal with as a caster. Like let's say, you know, you're trying to heal somebody, he's running across, and then like literally at the last second he runs behind and then it cancels. That's just a thing to keep an eye on if you're guys casting, or if you're the rogue in the situation, you can see when I'm casting clone. That's just good to good to see what your partner's doing, being able to like kind of see the entire game at once. And then lastly, I have WeakAuras. What WeakAuras do I use? Oh, I really don't use many WeakAuras. The one I do use, just because I got the screenshot, was Convoke. This just shows all the abilities that your Convoke uses. Just a kind of a fun thing for me to look at, see how many bites or star surges I get, and then it's also good entertainment value for the stream. If you want that one, you could just hit ! WeakAuras in my Twitch chat, and that'll pop up because I don't have a link to that at the moment. But yeah, that's about it, guys. So this is just all my add-ons. I'll put all of them in the description below if you want to just check out each one. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.